Welcome, everyone. Comment your idea for a story you want for the next video. Also, please like and subscribe for daily stories. Today we will listen to the story of a poor soul in a military submarine. And now get comfortable and relax. The hum of the engines is the only thing left alive down here. No voices over the intercom, no chatter in the passageways, no boots echoing on the steel deck. Just that deep, vibrating thrum, constant and hollow. The submarine feels bigger now, emptier, every corridor stretching longer than I remember. I don't know where everyone went. I was in the sonar room less than 15 minutes ago, watching the green sweep of the radar, when the overhead lights flickered. Then came the call over the comms. My name, just my name, drawn out in a slow, almost mocking tone. I didn't answer. When I stepped into the corridor, it was empty. The silence is wrong. Even on quiet patrols, there's always the sound of life, footsteps, coughs, the metallic creak of hatches opening and closing. Now it's just the hum and the occasional drip of condensation hitting the deck. I pass the crew quarters. Every bunk is neatly made, gear stowed, but there's no one inside. The air smells faintly of oil and metal, mixed with something sharp, chemical. I keep moving, my hand brushing the bulkhead to steady myself as the sub rocks gently in the current. Then I hear another set of footsteps. They're slow, deliberate, and far too heavy to be anyone trying to avoid detection. The sound comes from behind me, echoing along the corridor, each step ringing against the steel floor. I know that gait. I know the rhythm. Dawson. We'd served together for years. I'd shared smokes with him during surface watch, played cards during long stretches under the ice. But a month ago, after the last port, rumors started, murmurs about a leak, about someone feeding intel to the other side. I didn't believe them, until now. The footsteps grow louder, closing in at an unhurried pace. I move faster, my boots clanging against the deck, taking the next ladder down to engineering. The air down here is warmer, thick with the smell of diesel and sweat. The shadows from the overhead pipes twist and sway with each flicker of the lights. I glance back up the ladder. He's there. Not running, never running, just descending rung by rung, one hand still gloved, the other holding something small and metallic that catches the light. I don't wait to see more. I push through the narrow gangways, the heat pressing in from all sides. The hum of the reactor fills the air, masking some of my movement, but I can still hear him, his boots never breaking rhythm. I duck into a side compartment, sealing the hatch behind me, but the wheel squeals as it turns, loud enough to give me away. The room smells of grease and old seawater, and in the far corner sits a maintenance locker. I move toward it but then stop. Metal on metal, scraping slow and deliberate, echoes from just outside the hatch. The scraping stops. Silence presses against the steel walls, so complete I can hear my own pulse in my ears. I take a slow step back from the hatch, keeping my eyes on the wheel. My hand brushes the edge of a tool bench, fingers finding the cold steel shaft of a wrench. I grip it so hard the ridges bite into my palm. Then the wheel moves. Not fast. Just a slow, steady turn, the metal groaning with each fraction of a rotation. He's not trying to break in. He's letting me hear it. I back up farther, my shoulders hitting the bulkhead, the wrench trembling in my grip. The hatch opens an inch, then another, until the narrow seam reveals nothing but the dark hallway beyond. He doesn't step inside immediately. Instead, a shadow leans into the gap, the faint light from the compartment catching the edge of his face. It's Dawson, but not the way I remember him. His eyes are flat, fixed, his mouth set in something between a smirk and nothing at all. The metallic glint in his hand resolves into a combat knife. Standard issue, but polished to a mirror sheen. He twirls it once in his fingers like it's weightless before slipping through the hatch and pulling it shut behind him with a dull, final clang. The heat from the engine room above seeps into the compartment, making the air feel close, suffocating. Dawson doesn't rush. He takes a slow step forward, boots clicking on the steel deck, the knife hanging loose at his side. "I always knew you'd be the one to figure it out," he says, voice low, calm, as if we're back on watch duty, sharing a secret. I edge toward the far wall, my fingers brushing the locker handle, but he sees it. His head tilts just slightly, his eyes tracking every move like a predator gauging the distance to its prey. The sub rocks suddenly, a deep metallic groan rolling through the hull. For a moment, the lights flicker again, shadows sliding across his face. When they come back steady, he's closer, too close. The moment the lights steady, he lunges. It's not a wild charge, just a sudden, explosive step that closes the distance faster than I can react. The knife flashes upward, and I swing the wrench on instinct. Steel meets steel with a shriek that echoes off the compartment walls, the vibration shooting up my arm hard enough to make me lose my grip. The wrench clatters to the deck, skittering out of reach. He doesn't go for a killing blow right away. Instead, he presses in close, one hand locking onto my shoulder, the other pushing the knife just far enough toward my ribs that I can feel the heat of my own breath bouncing off the blade. His eyes don't blink. The submarine's hull groans again, a low, deep sound that rattles every bolt. The floor tilts slightly, and in that split second of imbalance, I shove him hard into the tool bench. He stumbles, the knife scraping against the steel surface, and I dive for the wrench. My fingers close around it just as his hand clamps down on my ankle, yanking me backward. I hit the deck face first, pain bursting across my jaw, the wrench slipping from my hand again. His weight is on me now, heavy and inescapable, the smell of oil and sweat filling my lungs. I twist, elbowing him in the ribs. He grunts, not much but enough to loosen his grip, and I roll away, scrambling to my feet. My boots slam against the deck, echoing like gunshots in the confined space as I back toward the hatch. He straightens, the knife back in his grip, his breath steady despite the scuffle. The faint sway of the submarine makes the shadows shift across his face, and in that shifting darkness, his voice comes again. "You're not making it to the surface." He starts forward, slow again now, knife held low and ready. The only way past him is through him. My back hits the hatch, the cold steel biting through my shirt. The wheel is right there, one twist and I could be out, but there's no time. Dawson closes the gap with that same slow, deliberate pace, eyes locked on mine like he's already decided how this ends. I force myself to move first. My hand shoots for the wheel, but he's faster. His shoulder slams into my chest, pinning me against the bulkhead. The knife comes up between us, the tip pressing into the hollow just below my sternum. I can feel the point through the fabric, feel the way he's holding it steady, just waiting for my resistance to slip. I grab his wrist with both hands, pushing back, my arms shaking with the effort. His strength doesn't feel human, calm, steady pressure, no wasted movement. My boots slide on the steel deck, my heels searching for purchase as the submarine sways again. A deep groan rolls through the hull, louder this time, followed by a shudder that ripples through the deck. The sub tilts sharply, and both of us slam sideways into the bulkhead. The knife slices through my shirt, grazing skin, but the sudden shift gives me just enough room to drive my knee into his side. He grunts, stumbling back half a step, and I grab the wheel, spinning it with everything I've got. The hatch unlocks with a metallic thunk, but before I can pull it open, his hand snags my collar and yanks me backward. The knife is gone. I don't see where he dropped it, but his fists are just as dangerous. The first punch splits my lip, the copper taste flooding my mouth instantly. I swing wildly, connecting with his jaw. His head snaps to the side, but the expression doesn't change. Still cold, still focused. Another shudder rips through the sub, followed by the shrill wail of an alarm somewhere deeper inside. The red emergency lights flare, washing everything in a strobing crimson. In one flash, I see him lunge. In the next, I'm diving through the hatch, the wheel spinning behind me as I slam it shut. His pounding on the steel echoes down the corridor, sharp and rhythmic. It doesn't sound desperate. It sounds patient. And as I stagger down the passage, blood dripping from my chin, I hear his voice through the metal, steady as ever. "I'll find you." The pounding stops. The sudden quiet is worse than the noise, like the air itself is holding its breath. I keep moving, forcing my legs to carry me deeper into the sub, my ears straining for any sign he's followed. All I hear is the deep, rhythmic thrum of the engines and the faint hiss of the ventilation. The emergency lights bathe everything in red, shadows twitching along the bulkheads with every sway of the vessel. My boots clank on the deck, each step echoing too loudly in the empty corridor. I pass compartment after compartment. Mess hall, sleeping quarters, radio room, each one deserted, untouched, as if the crew had simply stepped out and never returned. At the far end of the passage, the control room looms. I push inside, half expecting to see him already there. It's empty. The consoles blink steadily, the gauges and dials all normal, but there's no one at the helm. Through the forward viewing ports, only black water stretches in every direction. A faint noise cuts through the hum, a single deliberate tap on metal. I spin toward the sound, but it's not in the room. It's somewhere behind the bulkhead, moving slowly closer, like a finger tracing the submarine's veins. I stand frozen, wrench in hand, staring at the sealed hatch. The tapping stops. A voice comes through, soft and calm, as if he's just on the other side. Nowhere to go. And the lights go out. The lights vanish, plunging the control room into a black so absolute I can't tell if my eyes are open. The hum of the engines is still there, steady, constant, but now it feels like the sound is pressing in on me from all sides, vibrating through the deck into my bones. The tap on the bulkhead starts again, slower this time, closer. My grip on the wrench tightens until my knuckles ache, sweat slicking the handle. I back toward the helm, my boots scuffing against the steel deck, trying to track the sound. It moves like water, sliding from one wall to another, impossible to pin down. Then silence. I strain to hear anything, even my own breath, but the air feels dead. My pulse is a dull roar in my ears. For a second, I think he's gone. The hatch swings open without a sound. He's just there, silhouetted against the faintest red glow from the corridor, his shape solid, unmoving. One hand grips the knife. The other rests against the frame like he's been standing there for hours, waiting for the perfect moment. I raise the wrench, but he's already moving. The distance between us disappears in a single step. The knife flashes once, low, quick, so fast I don't feel the cut at first. Then the warmth blooms across my stomach. My hands drop the wrench, clutching at the wound, but it's deep, too deep. I stagger backward, my knees giving out, the world tilting as I slam into the console. The alarms wail again, red light strobing over his mask as he stands above me. He crouches, close enough that I can smell the salt and oil on him, his voice a whisper in my ear. "Should have trusted your instincts." The knife twists, and the last thing I hear is the thrum of the engines fading into nothing.